Suppose you could not see. Thanks to the genius of modern medicine, many people are being helped to improved or even restored vision. Some, for the first time, can discern the light of day, familiar objects, the faces of loved ones, the beauty, the grandeur, the magnificence of the world God gave to man. But suppose there were no hope for sight. Suppose you couldn't see. If there be no hope for sight, what is there hope for? Thy word giveth light. This is the story of John Wilson, my son. It's John's story, all right, but I believe it is better told by his father, as felt in a father's heart. There was never anything remarkable about John, just an ordinary, healthy American kid, like your boy, maybe. He begrudged the time for his piano practice, seemed almost ashamed of an inbred love for good music. His table manners were atrocious, in spite of everything his mother said. He did well enough in school, but could have done better if he had tried harder. In short, he was a typical boy, healthy, eager, the stuff of which our future is to be built. At college, he barely skimmed through his courses, but he was really something on the fraternity house keyboard. He made friends easily and was always surrounded at the piano. And how he did love to play. When war came, John was no special hero. He took it all in his stride. Saw a lot of action, too. North Africa, Sicily, and then at Anzio. Back home, we didn't know what had happened, actually. The first letters were written for him by a nurse. He was wounded, yes, but they didn't say how seriously. We had no way of knowing the valiant fight he and the doctors were making. But all the knowledge of medicine and the great skill of fine surgeons were of no avail. John, our son, was blind. Permanently, irrevocably blind. Try to imagine what blindness means to a healthy, ambitious boy whose life has not yet really begun. The will to live drained out of him like sand out of an upturned sack. His hopes and bright dreams turned into utter darkness. He had a lot of time for thinking, but couldn't seem to find the answer. For years, he and I had planned that he would come into business with me. Now, all that was finished. So was John, and so, I'm afraid, was I. By the time he was transferred to a hospital in this country, John had given up completely. The very nearness to his home seemed to make him more bitter than ever. I wanted to help, but he kept refusing. He just stayed there, asking for and expecting nothing. If ever a man was helpless, if ever a man felt like crying out in anguish, I was that man. The doctor advised me to wait and pray. It was all I could do. Then, months later, it happened. It was Sunday, and there were the usual services. All the boys joined in the hymns. All but John. Even music couldn't seem to move him. The chaplain knew the men. He knew that this one had asked for a Hungarian testament. This man wanted an Armenian book, like the one his mother used to read to him as a boy back in the old country. But John wasn't interested. The chaplain, though, hadn't given up. He had an idea, and the girl who played the hymns to help him.
I hope that you'll help with John. I've talked to him several times, but it seems to do no good.
Will he always be?
Blind? Yes, he's known that for several months. But he just can't seem to accept it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry you're not able to sing with us,
Why?
because singing is often as helpful as medicine. Makes you feel better.
I feel well enough.
Singing is heartwarming. You can enjoy it alone, but it's best when you sing with others, sort of sharing yourself.
I have no wish to share anything with anyone. I suppose I'm being rude and should apologize. And I should tell you I enjoyed hearing you play. You play very well. I used to play a little myself. That was before Anzio.
And you'll play again, if you want to. It wouldn't
be what? Too hard? How do you know? Maybe it wouldn't be worth it. Have you ever thought of that?
Yes, I thought of that. But now I've other things to think of. Do you know Braille?
I'm learning it.
Here, start with this line.
This is the Bible.
Yes, the book of Job. It's a wonderful passage, isn't it? I would seek unto God, and unto God would I commit my cause, who giveth rain upon the earth, and sendeth water upon the fields, to set up on high those that be low, that those which mourn may be exalted to safety.
Say, how did you find that particular passage so quickly?
I've read it many times.
But in here, I mean, in the Braille.
That's the Bible I read. I cannot read any other.
You mean...
Yes, I'm blind too. That is why I'm so sure this book will help you as it helped me. When you've finished with this one, I'll bring you another. You can read the entire Bible.
And John did read. Raised dots on paper became the light that penetrated John's darkness. The familiar words sprang to life with new and vibrant meaning under his searching fingers. None more than the verse, "The entrance of thy words giveth light." John went on from there, taking an interest. At last his will to live revived. The miracle was happening. We didn't realize it at first. Neither John nor the doctors told us. But John, the son we used to know, was slowly finding his way back. Then one day John phoned, said he wanted to see me. Just that and nothing more. I tried to feel hopeful, but actually I was worried, terribly worried. The instant I saw him, I knew something perfectly wonderful had happened. I could see it in his face. He asked me for his coat and said he wanted me to make a call with him. Just like old times. I knew he felt it too. There was a lump in my throat just then. But as we walked, the lump in my throat melted and became a warm glow in my heart. I didn't yet understand, but I was to learn. I was to learn a great deal. We went to the Bible house, which symbolized for him the change which had come into his life. This building houses the headquarters for the worldwide work of the American Bible Society. I was later to become better acquainted with it, but as we went in that first day, I was too intent upon what John was saying to pay much attention to anything else. I did not notice the large globe in the lobby, showing where the society is at work, nor the chart, which lists the almost 1,100 languages and dialects into which Scripture has been translated. The society has a secretary in charge of its work for the blind. As we came in, she was reading a letter written in Braille by a blind correspondent. John later told me that such letters can be written on a machine similar to a typewriter, or by hand with a stylus. The secretary began my education as to exactly what had brought the change in John. I began to see the how and the why. In the Bible House library, I met the librarian and learned that what had happened to John has been happening to blind people for well over a century. The American Bible Society has been supplying scriptures to the blind since 1835. The first was in the line letter system. You can probably read it with your eyes because the symbols are like the letters of the alphabet, but it can be embossed on only one side of the page. In 1894, the Bible was printed in New York Point, and thousands of volumes were distributed. It is still in use today. The raised dots, instead of the line letters, save space and may be more quickly read by those with sensitive fingertips. This Bible in New York Point was used by Miss Helen Keller for over 15 years. She still likes it, although she has learned all the systems. She wrote to the American Bible Society, whose light shines bravely against the greatest darkness of the world. In 1903, the Bible Society began importing the Bible in the Moon system. It is a modified raised letter and is still used by those whose fingers are not sensitive. Moon requires 58 volumes for the complete Bible, 12.5 feet of shelf space, or almost 3 times as much as Braille. The next development was American Braille, which appeared in 1911 and proved to be widely popular. It was followed 8 years later by the revised Braille, which is still in use. Braille is a sort of shorthand, condensed. Its compactness makes it possible to print the Bible in only 20 volumes. The raised dots use less space than the raised letters and allow the use of more contractions. Then, too, Braille may be embossed on both sides of the paper. It costs $47 per set to make, $2.35 per volume. Special paper, printing, and binding are necessary. Single volumes in some other systems cost $8 each to produce. But to the blind, the price of all, whatever the cost, is only 25 cents a volume. This Bible, the greatest book ever written, printed in Braille, had brought my son back from the depths of despair, and now I felt re-inspired too. Try to imagine what it means to help a person who has lost his sight to rediscover his soul. I wanted to help, and I'd like to ask you to help. Not for us, not for John and me. We're doing just fine. But as I said, my eyes were opened to facts like these. Each year, more than 1,000 Americans lose the sight of at least one eye due to occupational hazards and industrial accidents. In spite of modern medical advances, some children are born blind. Many are blinded by illness or by time itself. It is estimated that in our country, there are 230,000 blind persons, many of whom are as yet without the scriptures. And of course, no one knows how many blind people there are in the rest of the world. For them, the American Bible Society supplies scriptures in 34 different languages and systems. For those unable to read any system, the Bible is available on 169 talking book records to be played on a talking book machine. In addition, there are records of selected favorite passages from the scriptures.
St. Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 to 12. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain. And when he was set, his disciples came unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
These records are also supplied to the blind for 25 cents each.
For they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy.
Then there is another large group which is served by the American Bible Society. People who have eyesight, but eyesight that is defective, too poor for them even to read. These people, too, must rely on Braille. Even children with poor eyesight learn it. Today, a concordance is printed in 10 volumes of Braille. The actual cost of production is $22. but they are to be had by the blind for only $2.50, 25 cents for each single volume. Again and again through the years, the systems of printing have improved, and the society has kept step with all the developments, even though it has meant increased costs. Since 1835, the Bible Society has distributed more than 225,000 volumes to the blind. Each has carried spiritual light into the world of physical darkness. Pennies, nickels, and dimes are needed, but dollars, serious amounts, are necessary from people like me, and I hope like you. I know how much it means, firsthand, and I hope from my story and John's that you too understand what a lot of good can be accomplished. And not just for the blind. What we give brings comfort to many others who seek a way out of misery and frustration. Around the world, in many languages, the Bible is translated, published, and distributed. All this adds up to many happy endings, like John's. I told you John was all right. No, he isn't coming into my business as we had planned, but he is living a constructive life of his own. Like every blind person, John had to find his way to a power and a peace which transcends any physical handicap.
Paragraph